Hi, hi, hi. What's up, African Fight Fam? It's your boy JB back again with another video. I know it has been a while, it has been a minute you saw me here, but I just decided to quickly hop on here. As you can see, I'm very sleepy. That's because it's very late and I stayed up to watch Kamaru Usman's Nigerian MMA promotion Face Off Fight Night 3. So this is the third edition inside the year of 2022, which is brilliant. Debut year, three shows. Things will get better from here, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, it's your boy JB. Just so you know, I'm gonna be like every YouTuber out there, like and subscribe and do all the good stuff for the African fighters. This is premium African MMA content, and yeah, we try as much as we can to put out stuff. So yeah, without any further ado, we go straight into it. But this time we're not gonna get any copyright issues because it was a free stream on YouTube. So we could look at some few clips and make references to what I will be saying about my review today. All right, so I'm just gonna jump into it. Yep, found it. So I think this would be much easier if I pull up the fight card. So I'm just gonna share in the big screen here. So this is the fight card. This is straight from the AKO page. And wow, 12 fights on the card. Major, major improvement. We would like to see as much fight as we can. Another thing is the number of African countries represented on this card. So this is the card with the most foreigners. So that means that the vision with this organization is being Pan-African, so not just exclusively Nigerian. So there are a couple of there's a Ghanaian here, DRC, Togo, Benin Republic, and Cameroon. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the Congolese were represented heavily. And I must say their performances as well was impeccable. Impeccable. I always like that word in case I botched it. Anyway, so I'm just going to quickly go through. I don't want to keep you guys here for too long. I'm just going to quickly go through the prelims and then we go to the main card and then we talk about the shockers on this on this card. So without any further ado, I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you guys what I think are the improvements that I've seen from the show, and then we continue from there. I'm sorry this review is all over the place, but yeah. So first of all, I think they got a bigger venue and this venue allowed them to move pieces around the cage and sitting arrangements because Nigerians are really high on like VIP treatment and tables and all that. So they kind of made a balance of like r- pure audience with normal arena setting of sitting, and then there was like sort of like the VIP shenanigans that Nigerians like. So it was a good balance, and I would say the turnout looked decent on camera. You could see maybe one or two empty seats, but it was mostly full. Some people online, because I was watching the live stream, some people were complaining about people not being there. Obviously, it's in the prelims, and even in the UFC, when you watch the prelims, you would see empty seats. But when it got to the main card, the building was pretty much filled up. So I would say they did a good job with promoting the event because Nigerians showed up. And I'm gonna say something. The crowd, the whole time, uh, very decent crowd. Because I'm surprised with how how they reacted to like takedown, submission attempts, and like position switches when someone is on top of someone and then the position switches, you could hear them gasping like, "Oh wow!" So I was pretty surprised by that. Uh, that means that the Nigerian fans are starting to catch on with MMA, right? So yeah, so those are the things. I would say, yeah, this time they had a three-man commentary team. Um, the first event, two-man. I'm pretty sure one of the guys is Steve and the other one is Franklin. And the second event, the same. But this third one, they added someone who sounded quite knowledgeable about MMA because you could hear he is defining or stating these positions or what a fighter needs to do to get out of a hold or something. He was quite uh he was quite revealing with all those MMA terms and stuff. So I would say that is nice. That's a nice touch. However, I did see in the streams, I did see in the comment section some people were not really impressed with the commentary. Some people were smart enough to identify the voices and differentiate that, oh, this guy is good, this guy is not good, this guy is good. So I when I see positive criticism, I don't have issues with it. But when I see criticisms like, oh, this is bullshit, this is not even the same level as UFC, blah 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 blah, those sort of people, you cannot impress them. You cannot impress them. Yeah. So that's me rambling. Another thing that stepped up is the quality of the fight. If you watched the first fight and the second fight, the quality improved. And if you also saw the officiating, there are some questionable calls in there, but one thing that we were always talking about from the last event was that the referees were allowing these fighters to kill each other. But now you could see that the referees step in on time, sometimes too early, sometimes late. Maybe in the main event it was a tad bit late, but there is an improvement in the referees trying to protect the fighters, which is something that we would want to see. I feel the referees need to be educated some more because the thing is, these referees are mostly boxing or kickboxing referees. These are events where this is a type of combat sports where you could actually pause a fight to check on a fighter to see if he's doing well and say continue and proceed, and then sometimes you give a fighter some chance to recover. So much in boxing, unlike MMA. So that's where they were having issues in the previous events, but I'm kind of glad to see that there's been an improvement in that sector. So yeah, I rambled a lot. So those are the things I saw. I'm gonna take you back to the fight card. So let's see. We saw Muzan Basi. Muzan is a fighter that has been on all three events of AKO, and in his first two, you could tell that he was gun shy because he was always stepping back, and people complained about Muzan a lot. People did complain about him. I'll try to sneak in a highlight of Muzan here. So in this edition, when he was fighting Omega Basi, I believe he was the aggressor, and when as him being the aggressor, he was more successful. He wasn't more successful because he got the first TKO of the night. Yeah, that's Muzan. That's who I was talking about. Oh yeah, that's it. So here we go. So he outstruck him with some knees down the middle. This is one of the highlights of the night, probably performance of the night. Uh, Omega Basi really, really got his ass handed to him. I hope he's doing all right. I hope he's recovering well. But he looked like he was really, really rocked with a straight knee. So yeah, nice, decent to see Muzan first official win in MMA. Proud of the guy. He is quite young as well, early 20s, I believe. So yeah, he's only gonna learn because he has a long reach. You can see he has that like light heavyweight frame. Um, yeah. So if he keeps his head down, he would, yeah, be all right. So the next fight, Jibrin versus Olympio, the Joker. So if you had seen the press conferences, the guy that painted his face, that's him, Olympio versus Jibrin here. Um, 3-round fight. Got to the judges' scorecard. This might be boring to casuals, but all in all, we saw an improvement in Jibril. So Jibrin is a kickboxer, multiple time national champion in Nigerian kickboxing, but this time he leaned in his wrestling, and this is something we've never seen before from him. So that shows that he's been working. Um, yeah. So big shout out to Jibril. He won his fight. So Opara versus Franklin. So my stream had some issues here. I couldn't watch this fight, but I saw that Franklin won. I believe that was a rear naked choke, but we can see it together, guys. So just so you know, Opara was a late notice replacement for Ajunwa. Kingsley Ajunwa was supposed to fight Franklin here, but Opara stepped in a week notice because Ajunwa, from what I heard, he's a police officer and he was in police school or something, and the police academy wouldn't release him, so he had to like forfeit the fight. So yeah. Just so you know, Kingsley Ajunwa, who was supposed to be in this fight, is the son of Chioma Ajunwa, Nigerian first ever gold medalist in the Olympics. So yeah, Opara lost to Franklin Esso. Obviously, Franklin Esso more experience. Opara making his MMA debut, so that only makes sense. I'm gonna go to the heavyweight. So the heavyweight was a big disappointment for a lot of people. Wasn't a disappointment for me, but at some point you started dozing off in this fight. But yeah, there isn't too much to talk about this fight, to be honest. The that is the heavyweights, and that is, I'm gonna find them now. This enormous men, like Francis Ngannou type of hefty men. Um, both fighters MMA debut. Both fighters were concerned about each other's power, but at the end it was a ground and pound by Kazeem. I mean, sorry, by John. John, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm kind of lost. Who won this fight? Was it John or was it Kazeem? Okay, okay, guys. Uh, here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, so blue corner Kazeem. Is it? I'm sorry, guys. Probably need to fact check that one. Can't remember, to be honest, because the fight was forgetful. So yeah, this is another interesting one. Jane Osigwe versus Reine. Jane Osigwe, the Nigerian girl. Um, she was in the second edition of the AKO, the Face of Fight Night, where she fought Chiato. That is the grappler. But in this occasion, I believe Jane has just scored her first MMA win. And there was something different about her, to be honest. The confidence level, the fact that she's fighting at home, she looked very, very, very energetic. Um, Rain looked tired. In the first round, Rain was kind of like getting into it, but once Jane, there was a few scrambles in there. Believe this was like the first entertaining back and forth fight that we had on the card. Most of the fights were like kind of like one-sided, but like this one was the one that we kind of saw a bit of like back and forth. Anyways, Jane won this one, and a lot of people people in the comment section. Oh, there she is. She was giving us some dances. Yeah. And it was beautiful to see Chiato in the comment section defending Jane here. She won by ground and pound, by the way, that's it. So she was defending Jane here in the comment section. I was watching on the live stream. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm rambling. I promise to sharpen my act together. So the next fight is Yusuf Mulumba. No, sorry, that's not his first name. Mulumba versus Ansieku. This was a first all foreigners fight, a Ghanaian versus a Congolese. And the commentators were mentioning that Ansieku has not fought in a while. So obviously there might be rustiness in there. And he came out, that's Ansieku. He came out, Mulumba looked sharp. Mulumba was on him the whole time. You could straight away from this fight, from the beginning, you could tell like there was a difference in talent. There was a difference in skill, basically, because Mulumba, to be honest, looked more well-rounded than Commey. I haven't seen Commey's fight before. It probably would be a case that it wasn't his day, or but I'm not sure. But it certainly looked like the more experienced fighter appeared to be Mulumba, and that was the first victory for the Congolese on this card. So yeah, the Congolese were out. One in the win column of the Congolese. So yeah, and then we went to the main event of the prelims. Ugochukwu and Melvin. That's Nicotine versus Dennis. So this fight has Melvin, who is a fan favorite. Everybody knows about Melvin's Nicotine's knockout power, and Dennis apparently has background in wrestling. But there's something you could tell in this fight. You could see the size difference. There's no way these two guys weighed in the same weight. They're more one. Definitely, Dennis could have probably missed weight, but I don't know. I don't know. We were not told. Anyways, the first round, Dennis was putting it on Nicotine. To be honest, he was attacking the lead leg of Nicotine, and Nicotine kind of looked like it started affecting him, his lead left leg. And yeah, the first round I could easily give it to Dennis, but the second round came, guys. The second round came, and I'm just going to fast forward it here. You guys have probably, yeah. So I'm gonna fast forward it here so we see that knockout. So this is probably the knockout of the day, or maybe the main event, wasn't it? So here we go. You can see here, Nicotine pokes the leg, threw a jab to the leg of Dennis to get a reaction, and then he came over with the right hook. Oh, and night. They called it a TKO, but I saw a KO, guys. Nicotine improves to 3-0, still undefeated. One of the most exciting fighters out of Nigeria at the moment. Knockout power. However, he has a lot of work to do in his grappling and wrestling. So yeah, shout out to Nicotine. So we go straight into the main event. So the main event, guys, Akintayo versus Juliett Chukwu. This fight here. They opened the main card. Oh, sorry, I said the main event, the main card. And to be honest, guys, I was really, really impressed. Really, really impressed with the striking of Juliett Chukwu. This is Juliett Chukwu. I believe she's a police officer in Nigeria, but bro, her striking and her kicks was really, really impressive to me. To be honest, in the whole, I have only seen a handful of Nigerian female fighters in MMA. She stands above all of them, to be honest, when it comes to striking. So yeah. So I'm just gonna jump into the fight. So you could Akintayo is doing her MMA debut. That is the girl in the red corner. Uh and you could straight away tell that she's a boxer because look at her stance. She kind of forgets that leg kicks come. As you can see her stance here, you could see that this is somebody that is definitely a boxer. And Juliett Chukwu just started keeping range by kicking from afar, and that's how she won the fight. She constantly kicked because the boxer wouldn't kick. So, and she has a longer reach than the boxer, so that only makes sense. So yeah, Juliett Chukwu picks up the victory here. I'm sure we are going to see Juliett Chukwu on the AKO or the Face Off Fight Night series very soon again, because this one, she is really, 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 really good. We have not seen her grappling because it wasn't tested, but really, really impressed. All right, so straight away we go into Thompson versus Nyembo. So Cornel Thompson versus Nyembo. So Nyembo apparently is, listen to this, a Japanese black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. So Japanese Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've never heard about that before. I'm an MMA casual, guys. And Cornel Thompson, the Marine boxer, is known for his wrestling. He prides himself to have a gas tank that would outlast anybody, hence why he starts wrestling from the first round. And we saw him in the Netflix show. He was fighting among middleweights, and he's really a lightweight. So that that could, and he was like holding his own in the. He was like what he was fighting for the third place runner up. He got to the final four of that show as the smallest man in the house. So that could tell you how good his grappling and wrestling is. But now he's going on against a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu, guys. So straight out of the gate, the Nyembo attempted two submissions in the first round. The grappling of Nyembo looked very, very crisp. Um, but obviously, Cornel Thompson has been down in these deep waters before. He held his own, survived the first round, and then Nyembo gassed out. And then, yeah, Cornell started picking him apart, started wrestling him in the third round. He would wrestle, get him down, stand up and ask, get the ref to stand Nyembo up, and then he takes him down again. It kind of looked like he was toying with him. And in this fight, he got 8 takedowns in this fight. So Cornell Thompson got 8 takedowns. This could probably be a record for AKO if they are keeping the stats. So yeah, a good showing for Cornell Thompson. He probably him and Emeka should have the most fights in AKO from the series to the face of fight night. Um, this was a good test for him, and he survived. And to be honest, I think Cornell Thompson would do all right if he gets to like fight more experienced non-African fighters, those guys that are kind of like heavy grapplers. But shout out to Cornell Thompson, the Marine boxer, one of the crowd favorite as well. So then we moved to Ewe versus Musasa. Guys, this fight was disappointing for me. Benard, Emmanuel Benard versus Musasa. So the reason why this was disappointing for me, this was the first fight that had both fighters being undefeated. Emmanuel Benard came in 3-0. He calls himself the KO machine. And what's the name of the other guy? Musasa came in 1-0. He calls himself the KO wizard. So 1-0 gotta go, right? And yeah, so this was the third, I believe, and final Congolese on the card. Currently, the Congolese are 1-1. So there was a lot. I was excited about this fight, but to be honest, the first round, this is a questionable stoppage by the ref. But the first round was, just gonna fast forward so you guys could see. Oh, that's it. So the first round, yeah, Musasa was stunting on Nigerians. So the fight finished in the first couple of seconds of the first round. There you see Emmanuel Bernard a bit dazed, trying to wrestle the ref. You could see him grabbing the ref's leg. A lot of talk have been in the comment section or in the stream. I could see a lot of people talking about how bad stoppage. Some people thought it was a good stoppage, but to be honest, I would say the ref is protecting Emmanuel, but the ref should have stopped the fight earlier than he did. But if he had waited that long and it kind of looked like Emmanuel has started recovering, then he should actually let him recover. But because if he was trying to protect him, he should have stopped the fight earlier when Emmanuel couldn't stand. But yeah, all in all, good fight. Not really a good fight, but disappointing. You could see Emmanuel here arguing with the ref. Yeah, so we would go into the co-main event. Emeka versus Ndidi Alonu. All right, this is another controversial one, guys. Um, this is one of the biggest fights in AKO history, guys. Ndidi Alonu versus Daniel Emeka. Big shock. This were the finalists in the AKO reality TV show that is currently on Netflix. That fight was very close, and the judges gave it to Ndidi. Some fans thought that Emeka won the fight. And then in this fight, uh, a 3 rounder. This is like one of those fights of like the guys are very, very close. Very, very close in like neck and neck with the fighting situation because this was a very close fight. And in my opinion, I wasn't keeping notes, but in my opinion, with eye test, I haven't seen the fight again. I only saw it once. I actually thought that Daniel Emeka won the fight. I'm not sure which rounds I'll give him, to be honest. Oh, I would definitely not give him the second, but I'll give him the first and the third. Um, yeah, that was that's my own prediction, or not really prediction. That's my own score for the fight between Ndidi and Emeka. I thought Emeka did enough to get a victory. And another thing you should know is that the refs allowed a bit of dirty fighting in there because Emeka was kicked in the groin twice. Indeed, he was kicked in the groin once, and there was no point deducted. If there was a point deducted, that would have obviously swinged the fight to Emeka's way, or probably get a split decision, a split draw. But yeah, to be honest, as I was telling you earlier, I'll probably give the fight to Emeka. I'm sure Ndidi wouldn't if he watches the fight again as well, he probably would score the same. And now Ndidi has become that boogie for Emeka, right? That guy that beats you very close twice, and you can't get a trilogy out of it because you've been beaten twice. So yeah, Ndidi took the mic and thanked Jesus. Yeah, so two things. Because of that, I just remembered two things that were weird from this show. The first one is the judging. We did not always hear the scorecard. We should hear the scorecard because those are topics of discussion. I don't know why they stopped calling the stock. Sorry, guys. Sleepy. I don't know why they stopped calling the scorecard. They'll just say unanimous decision or split decision, so we don't know how close it was. And that is one. And what's the second thing? Yeah, the second thing is they never allowed the fighters to talk in the cage. I've been talking about this since from the first fight to this fight. We need to see character in these fighters. We need them to be interviewed in the octagon, in the middle of the octagon, in front of everybody. But that didn't happen in this one. So maybe the next one, obviously, we could see some improvements that the organization have been doing. But anyways, very, 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 very nice fight. If you haven't seen it, I would ask you to go out of your way to go see this fight, Emeka versus Ndidi 2. And then we go to the main event, Machine Gun Shakes versus Drame. This main event was a shocker. Was a shocker to me. Everybody in the arena, you could see that their jaws were dropped when Drame knocked out Machine Gun Shakes cold. So many things to talk about in this fight. So first of all, nobody can deny the talent of Segun, and nobody can deny the talent of Drame as well. But one thing I would say is Segun looked very, very, very relaxed in there. You know, it's they say be relaxed, be calm in a fight, but he looked more relaxed and more calm. I swear, before the knockout in my head, I was like, this guy is too like standing in front of fire, right? I was like, okay, so if this guy, if because from the beginning you could see Drame with like some swings, he was going for it with power shots, and Shogun was getting out of the way, but almost getting out of the way, right? Like slide, he was this close, and I was like, it's a matter of time before this guy catches you, Shogun. Like Shogun was not aggressive at all. He appeared more calm than he should be, and in most of his fights, he was like I've never seen him that calm before. It was probably being overconfident. His first main event, all the crowd there were there to see him. Most of the people in the arena were there to see him. And yeah, it wasn't his night. But shout out to Drame. Drame actually set up that right punch very, very well. I'll just fast forward so we could see it. Yeah, so here we go. It was just right about here. You could see how relaxed Segun is, right? All right, I think it's about now. So at this point, we saw Drame shoot for a takedown here, right? And Segun obviously stopped the takedown. And in this knockout, you could see Drame faking a takedown. So he faked a takedown and then he came up with a right punch. This is something textbook Kamaru Usman does. Fake a takedown and then come up with a right punch. And clearly, look, he faked a takedown. Segun, as relaxed as he is, his hands are down. As you can see, his hands are down. When Drame shot the takedown there, you could see Segun dropped his hand, right? And Drame came up. Boom. There you go. Nights out. This is a knockout, guys. I don't know why they said it's a TKO. Very smart. Very smart. Yeah, I'm sure Shogun knows that he made a couple of mistakes in there, and he would obviously go back into the lab and try to fix those mistakes. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Face off, fight night 3. Um, all in all, good show, decent show. We saw some incredible knockouts, some incredible finishes. We saw some questionable officiating, but in the ladder of progress, this is the best AKO show of yet. This is the best show they've done so far. From the promotion, from the total display, the stream for the first time, the YouTube stream actually stayed on, didn't disconnect. And yeah, there you have it, guys. Please, as I said earlier, consider to subscribe, like, and do all the good stuff for the African fighters and myself, Jabril, signing out, saying ciao.
Come on, Africans!